This was real, and the stakes were far too high for reckless action. The road ahead stretched out before them, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the rugged California landscape. Each curve offered both a challenge and an opportunity, a chance to put distance between them and their pursuers, but also a potential trap if navigated poorly. Patricia's voice cut through Keanu's thoughts, tight with barely contained anxiety. "Keanu, please be careful," she urged, her eyes fixed on the side mirror there. "Still back there. Every time we slow down for a curve, they seem to get closer." Keanu glanced in his rearview mirror, confirming his mother's observation. The bikers were maintaining a steady suit, their motorcycles appearing larger each time the Ferrari had to reduce speed for a particularly sharp bend. He could see the determination in their postures, the way they leaned into each turn with practiced ease. These men were not going to give up easily. "Don't worry, Mum," Keanu said, his voice calm despite the tension coursing through him. "I've got this under control." He focused on the road ahead, his hands steady on the wheel as he guided the Ferrari through another curve with precision. As they neared Lake Arrowhead, Keanu began to explain his plan to Patricia. "Once we get to the hotel, they'll probably back off," he said, his eyes flicking between the road and the rearview mirror. "They won't want to cause a scene in a crowded, high-security area." Patricia nodded, but her grip on the door handle remained tight. "And what if they don't leave us alone?" she asked, voicing the concern that had been goring at both of them. Keanu's expression hardened slightly. "If they don't," he said, his voice taking on a determined edge, "I'll need to drop you off at the hotel to ensure your safety. Then I'll handle the situation with our pursuers." Patricia opened her mouth to protest, but the words died on her lips as the Sierra Heights resort came into view. The modern architecture of the hotel rose impressively against the mountain backdrop, a beacon of civilization after their harrowing journey. As they approached the resort, Keanu noticed the bike is finally hanging back when they entered the hotel area. Passing through a security checkpoint, the bikers stopped a short distance away, just outside the hotel's perimeter. A wave of relief swept over both Keanu and Patricia, but it was tempered by the lingering knowledge that the bikers, though at a distance, still posed a clear threat. As they continued to watch them as they pulled up to the hotel's grand entrance with valet and staff bustling around in preparation for the charity gala, Keanu couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation was far from over. The afternoon sun caught the hotel's glass facade, creating a momentary glare that seemed to underscore the precarious nature of their situation. As a valet approached to take the Ferrari, Keanu made a quick assessment. These men wouldn't simply leave, and their presence threatened not just his family, but everyone attending the event. He turned to Patricia, his decision made. "Mom, I need you to go inside and inform the organizers that I'll be delayed," he said, his voice low but firm. "I have to deal with this situation before it escalates further." Patricia hesitated, her eyes wide with concern. "Keanu, please," she urged. "Just come inside with me. Leave those men alone. We're safe here." But Keanu shook his head, his resolve evident in the set of his jaw. "I can't do that, Mom. As long as they're not leaving out there, no one is truly safe. I need to end this now." Patricia looked at her son, seeing not just the famous actor, but the determined, principled man she had raised. She knew that once Keanu set his mind to something, especially when it came to protecting others, there was no dissuading him. With a mixture of pride and worry in her eyes, she nodded her understanding as Patricia exited the car, her elegant outfit somewhat at odds with the tension in her posture. Keanu prepared himself for what was to come. He watched his mother enter the hotel, ensuring she was safely inside before turning his attention back to the distant figures of the bikers. With a deep breath, Keanu put the Ferrari into gear. He had a plan forming in his mind a way to confront these men on his own terms as he drove towards the exit, leaving behind the safety of the hotel he knew. He was taking a risk, but it was a calculated one, born from years of experience, both on and off the screen. The Ferrari's engine purred as Keanu neared the security portal, his gaze fixed on the bikers, who were closing in behind him. After passing the portal, he merged onto the roadside and rolled down the window, letting the rush of mountain air hit his face. Catching their attention, he threw them a deliberate wink and a challenge. "Let's settle this now. What, you want to fight?" One of the bikers grinned, cracking his knuckles. "There's plenty of spot in this area for that who said anything about fighting. You've got bikes, I've got my sports car, we race." His voice exuded confidence rather than aggression, catching the bikers off guard as they approached his car. Their mocking expressions shifted to thoughtful consideration. Keanu could almost see the gears turning in their minds, weighing the challenge he just presented. Finally, the biggest of the group, the scarred biker, spoke up. "All right, movie star," he sneered, a spark of competition in his eyes. "You want to settle this? Let's make it interesting. First one to reach that white house up there on the mountainside wins." Keanu's eyes followed the biker's gesture, spotting the prominent house perched on the slope above. He quickly assessed the route, his mind already plotting the best way to navigate the winding road. "And what are the stakes?" Keanu asked, his tone level but challenging. The biker grin wide, revealing a set of yellowed teeth. "If we win, you bow down, apologize for disrespecting us, and pay up. If you win, we'll leave you and your mummy alone for good." Keanu considered the proposal. For a moment it was risky, but it also presented an opportunity to end this confrontation once and for all, without violence. He glanced at his Ferrari, the powerful machine humming with potential, energy ready to spring into action at his command. With a nod, "KU accepted the challenge. You're on," he said, his voice carrying a quiet confidence that seemed to unnerve the bikers slightly as the bikers revved their engines, preparing for the race. Keanu took a deep breath. He knew that what he was about to do was dangerous, possibly even foolish, but he also knew that sometimes the only way to confront a threat was head-on. The mountain road stretched out before them, a gauntlet of curves and straightaways that would test both skill and nerve. As Keanu gripped the steering wheel, he sent a silent apology to his mother for the worry he was about to cause her. Then, with a roar of engines, the race began, the Ferrari and the motorcycles launching forward into what would prove to be a pivotal confrontation. The Ferrari's engine roared to life as Keanu floored the accelerator, the powerful car surging forward with a burst of speed that momentarily left the bikers in his wake. The afternoon sun glinted off the car's polished surface as it tore along the winding mountain road, the scenery blurring into a kaleidoscope of greens and browns. But the bikers were not to be outdone, their motorcycles lighter and more maneuverable than the Ferrari quickly caught up. They swerved aggressively on both sides of Keanu's car, their machines deftly navigating the curves with a recklessness born of familiarity with the terrain. Dust kicked up from their wheels, creating a swirling cloud that threatened to obscure Keanu's vision. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his years of stunt driving experience coming into play as he expertly guided the Ferrari. Through each turn, the car hugged the road, its superior handling allowing Keanu to maintain control even as the bikers tried to force him into a mistake. As they approached a particularly sharp bend, Keanu couldn't help but think that if only he had the 91-octane fuel the car preferred, its performance would be optimal. For the turbo engine, the mid-grade fuel from the earlier pit stop was adequate, but in a high-stakes race like this, every little advantage counted. The race remained incredibly close as they neared the White House that marked their finish line. Keanu's Ferrari matched the bikes move for move, his driving skill Evident in each precise turn, the bikers' expressions began to shift from confidence to frustration as they struggled to gain a significant lead over the celebrity they'd chosen. To harass in the final stretch, with the White House looming larger with each passing second Keanu made. A bold move, seeing a narrow gap between the two lead bikers, he gunned the engine and slipped between them, the Ferrari's sleek body barely clearing their handlebars. The bikers, caught off guard by the audacious maneuver, momentarily lost their rhythm. It was all the advantage Keanu needed. He pushed the Ferrari to its limits, the engine screaming as he ate up the final distance to the finish line. As they approached the White House, it was clear that the race would be decided by mere inches. The bikers, realizing their victory was slipping away, made a desperate final push. Their front wheels edged slightly ahead of the Ferrari's hood. As they all screeched to a halt in front of the house, the smell of hot engines and brake dust filling the air. For a moment, silence reigned as the dust settled around them. Then the bikers erupted into raucous cheers, claiming victory based on their marginal lead at the finish. Their voices were loud with false bravado, a stark contrast to the quiet intensity that radiated from Keanu as he stepped out of the Ferrari. "We won, we beat the big shot movie star," they crowed, their earlier intimidation transforming into mockery. Keanu stepped out of the Ferrari, his expression calm, despite the narrow loss, as the bikers continued their celebration. His eyes were drawn to the house itself. Something about it nagged at his attention, a detail that seemed out of place in this remote mountain location. As he approached the front door, realization dawned on him. The door bore the same biker gang insignia he'd recognized on their vests earlier at the gas station. The implications of this discovery raced through Keanu's mind, but he kept his expression neutral as the bikers turned their attention back to him. "All right, movie star," the lead biker sneered, still flush with victory time. "To pay up, get down on your knees and apologize for disrespecting us, and don't forget the cash. We know you can afford it." His companions joined in their laughter, echoing across the mountainside. "Yeah, let's see the great Keanu Reeves bow down to some real men." But Keanu ignored their taunts. He walked purposefully toward the front door, his mind working quickly to piece together the full picture of the situation. He found himself in the bikers' laughter faltered slightly, confusion creeping into their voices. "Hey, where do you think you're going?" one called out. "There's nothing in there for you, just more of us." As Keanu reached for the door handle, he knew he was taking a significant risk, but he also sensed that behind this door lay the key to resolving this confrontation once and for all. With a deep breath, he knocked on the door, ready to face whatever or whoever awaited him. Inside, the bikers fell silent as the door swung open, their faces shifting to expressions of confusion and growing unease. It was clear they hadn't expected Keanu to be bold enough to knock on their turf willingly. The handle turned and the door swung open from the inside. Keanu found himself face to face with a man who exuded an air of authority. The man's stern expression quickly softened into one of genuine warmth and surprise. "Derek," Keanu said, a smile spreading across his face. "Hey, long time see. I was worried you wouldn't be here when I saw the insignia outside. I remembered you, but it's been ages." The man, Derek, stepped forward and embraced Keanu in a warm hug. "Keanu, what in the world are you doing here?" His voice was a mix of joy and confusion. Keanu returned the hug, then stepped back, gesturing toward the door. "I believe these three belong to you," he said, his tone light, though there was a hint of seriousness underneath. Derek's expression darkened as he looked past Keanu to the three bikers who were now hovering uncertainly in the doorway. Their earlier bravado had evaporated, replaced by looks of dawning horror as they realized the gravity of their mistake. "Get in here," Now Derek barked, his voice carrying the unmistakable tone of a man used to being obeyed. The three bikers shuffled in their eyes. Downcast, avoiding Derek's piercing gaze, Keanu followed inside after the men. The interior of the clubhouse was dimly lit, a stark contrast to the bright afternoon sun outside. As Keanu's eyes adjusted, he noticed other club members began to gather, drawn by the commotion. The main room of the clubhouse, with its walls adorned with military memorabilia and club history, became the stage for what was about to unfold. Derek turned to Keanu, his expression a mix of concern and anger. "What happened, brother? What did these idiots do?" Keanu calmly recounted the events of the day, the harassment at the gas station, the chase, and the race that had led them here. As he spoke, the other club members' expressions hardened their disapproval of their wayward brother's actions. Evident when Keanu finished, Derek's face was a mask of barely contained fury. He turned to the three offenders, Crusher, Crow, Bull, his voice low and dangerous. "Is this true?" The three bikers, their earlier confidence completely shattered, mumbled incoherent excuses. They tried to pass off the incident as a friendly race, a bit of harmless fun, but their weak explanations fell flat in the face of Keanu's calm, factual account. Derek's voice sliced through, their stammering like a knife. "Enough," he snapped. "Do you take me for a fool? Do you have any idea who this man is? Do you know what he's done for this club?" The other members murmured in agreement, and Keanu felt their eyes on him, filled with respect and gratitude. Derek continued, his voice rising with each word. "Years ago, when this club was on the verge of financial collapse, it was Keanu who stepped in. His generous donations saved us, kept this place running, kept our brothers off the streets, and gave them a purpose." Derek's eyes swept the room, meeting the gazes of his fellow veterans. "He's been a quiet benefactor, never asking for recognition, always there when we needed help." The three offenders seemed to shrink under the weight of this revelation, the full impact of their actions finally sinking in. Crusher, the largest of the three, found his voice first. We didn't know." He mumbled, his earlier bravado completely gone. "Ignorance is no excuse." Derek snapped, "You violated everything this club stands for, harassing an elderly woman, threatening a man who's done nothing but help us. That's not what we're about, and you know it." The silence that followed was deafening. The other club members looked, on their faces a mixture of disappointment and anger. Keanu stood quietly, his presence a reminder of the club's higher purpose and the bonds of brotherhood that should have prevented such behavior. Derek took a deep breath, his decision evident in the set of his jaw. "You know the rules," he said, his voice carrying the weight of final judgment. "Your actions have consequences. Hand over your patches and club insignia. You're out." The three men paled, the reality of their situation hitting them like a physical blow. Being expelled from the club meant more than just losing a hobby. For many, it meant losing a support system, a family. "Please," Crow pleaded, his voice barely above a whisper, "give us another chance, we'll make it right." But Derek's response was unwavering. "You know the rules very well, and you intentionally denied them. There are no second chances for this kind of behavior." With trembling hands, Russer, Crow, and Bull removed their patches, placing them on a wooden table worn smooth by years of use. The sound of Velcro tearing seemed to echo in the silent room, a final ignominious end to their membership. As the three former members made their way to the exit, their shoulders slumped in defeat. Derek turned to Keanu. The anger had faded from his face, replaced by genuine warmth and gratitude. "I'm sorry you had to go through that, brother," he said, clapping Keanu on the shoulder, "but I'm glad it brought you here. It's been too long. How about you stay for a drink, catch up with the old crew?" Keanu glanced at his watch, thinking of the charity gala and his mother waiting at the hotel. But as he looked around the room at the faces of the veterans he'd helped over the years, he felt a pull stronger than any social obligation. With a smile, he nodded, You know what, I'd like that. Let me just make a quick call. Keanu pulled out his phone and moved to a quiet corner of the clubhouse. The wood-paneled walls and vintage photographs created a backdrop far different from the luxury hotel he'd originally planned to attend. As he dialed his mother's number, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt for changing their plans so dramatically. Patricia answered on the second ring, her voice tinged with concern. Keanu, is everything all right? Everything's fine, Mom. Keanu assured her quickly. He then launched into an explanation of the unexpected reunion with Derek in the Veterans Club and his decision to stay. As he spoke, Keanu could almost see his mother's expression softening, her initial worry giving way to understanding. Patricia, well established in philanthropic circles herself, knew the value of these genuine connections. Oh, Keanu, she said warmly when he finished, I completely understand. You stay there and spend time with those brave men. I can handle the gala on my own. As he ended the call with his mother, assuring her he was safe and explaining his decision to stay, Keanu felt a sense of peace settle over him. The day had taken an unexpected turn, but sometimes, he reflected, the most meaningful connections are forged in the crucible of adversity. The atmosphere in the clubhouse began to shift. The tension of the confrontation gave way to a sense of camaraderie and reunion. Old friends approached Keanu, eager to shake his hand and share stories of how his support had changed their lives in that moment, surrounded by men who had served their country and found a second family. In this club, Keanu knew he'd made the right choice. This, he realized, was where he was meant to be today, not at a glittering gala, but here, among real people whose lives he touched in meaningful ways. The late afternoon light filtered through the dusty windows of the clubhouse, casting long shadows across the main room. The walls, adorned with military memorabilia and photographs chronicling the club's history, seemed to come alive with stories of service, brotherhood, and honor. Derek stood before the gathered members, his posture straight and commanding, reminiscent of his days in military service. The room fell silent as he addressed the group, his voice carrying the weight of both disappointment and resolve. Brothers, he began, his eyes sweeping across the faces of his fellow veterans. Today we were reminded of the core principles